For the first time in 40 years, China is seeing the biggest uprising of their people against their oppressive government. And it's because China has drones flying down the highways with URL barcodes that require cars stuck in traffic to pull out their smartphones, scan the barcode, and the universal medical ID will determine if you're vaccinated, or with nanotech, they can tell if you are sick, quote unquote, similar to those bogus PCR tests. And people are finally have had enough with it, and they see how truly evil Xi Jinping's control of the country is. I mean, you look at on YouTube, there is a meeting where Xi Jinping is sitting at this giant council, and he gestures for two security guards to come to the elderly man next to him and remove him from the council. And for those of you that don't know what that means, he's no longer with us. And you can say whatever you'd like, but the thing about China is they don't have like the internet like we do. They have a very controlled internet, and you can tell because there will always be bots commenting in a certain political direction of how wonderful China is in any YouTube video regarding Xi Jinping, and it's almost like a intentional, it's like a joke in a sick way, because they're like, oh, the old man was not feeling well, he is fine though. And this was a month ago that this happened. That man is no longer with us. Xi Jinping is removing people who have increased China's financial situation in terms of the people, not in terms of like, you know, government, military, income, nothing of the sort. Now the people are finally uprising because when you have a tyranny, a medical tyranny, you can't, he can't just like send soldiers into the streets and keep like this false image of like China being like a decent country, because I mean a lot of people don't even understand like that China is truly an oppressive nation. Even like when people hear communist country, they're like, oh well, maybe they're like the people do well, and like their whole universal income is actually working out fine. But you can't send soldiers out in the streets oppressing the people, because people look at that and they're like, oh, that's bad. So instead they have these basically stormtroopers and these hospital scrubs full of like bunny ears and COVID masks, strapped with M16 machine guns, and they're having these people like, there's buildings on fire, and they're like sealing the doors up and telling the police and firefighters to not go in. They're refusing to let them go in to punish people who are not following these rules. Now Klaus Schwab, former head of the Bilderberg Group, and current head of Davos, founder of World Economic Forum, he is the archetype of a James Bond villain, grandson of a Nazi general, and inherited a ton of wealth, hence why he's in this position. He has claimed that China is an impressive model for the fourth industrial revolution, or so he calls it. And his puppet, Justin Trudeau, the Canada Prime Minister, is on record saying that China's basic dictatorship and the way they get stuff done, he admires. I watched the video. He says this is like a group of laughing feminist girls that have no idea what they're giggling about, but they're giggling about pure evil, and they're giggling about somebody who eventually wants to change his nation into a tyrannical country to where they will be limited to have one child and won't be able to step 1 foot outside their homes without COVID tracking. The United Nations is announcing their worldwide digital currency, online banking, to get rid of different forms of buying and selling, and to incorporate their controlled financial crash that they caused, and then they can be the rescuers of it with a phony financial system that allows them to monitor everybody's transactions and only allowing the people that talk the way they like the discussion to go, only allowing them to have financial freedom. At the what was it called? The world leader event that they just had, where Elon Musk was on the screen with the red lighting and the power went out. It was hosted by the World Economic Forum. There's some Indonesian representative who's saying, next time we have a pandemic, we need to see who is properly tested and only allow a little bit of movement for the people that are properly tested, and we don't have to stop the entire world. I mean, they're really going for it. They are slinging the firearms at the American people. Children are still getting the jab. Balenciaga has been revealed to be a pedophilic elite, and now YouTube channels that are discussing Balenciaga's cult-like evil nature are having their channels terminated. It's just a total war on the American spirit and just the human spirit in general. They want to break your will, and you're gonna see a lot more carnage, a lot more censorship. They're not going to pull back on that whatsoever, and it's just a very interesting time to be alive. It's difficult to gather your thoughts and really decide to speak up about it, because in some ways it feels futile. It's like, what am I even saying this for? I look around me, there's not explosions in the sky, but I mean, we fail to protect the children. That's karma on the human race, and I truly believe we will pay the piper in that regard. And every generation has their evil, and every generation has their tyrants, and good times make weak men make tough times. Tough times make strong men make good times. And it just feels like this is going to be a transitional period. Hopefully there's a lot more red pill going on, a lot more people choosing to get involved. I'm certainly trying to get more well-read and formulate my thoughts in a more coherent way, and just really start digesting as much information as I can. Luckily, where I live, I'm not exactly in a super dangerous area by any means, but we have to enjoy the sources, and we have to utilize what we have to get as knowledgeable as we possibly can, because China didn't choose to be like an impressive government. They did not make that decision consciously. It's a horrible turn of events, and we really, as a people, have to open up our eyes and realize that sometimes there's actually somebody at your front door that wants to harm you and has no good intentions. And there's no respawn buttons in this GTA. This is for real. We really have to protect our kids, protect our loved ones, because a lot of them have had their health confiscated, they've been lied to, they've been murdered. And it's going to keep going until we find a way to bring justice to the forefront, bring God back into the house, protect what the family is, and just really come together, because it's utter madness, but it's reality. And it's a very difficult transition to really tell yourself this is happening, to look some certain people through a screen and really come to the realization that these people are psychopaths, sociopaths, and they actually enjoy murdering people, and this is what they do, and they're not going to stop on their own intent. This is what they do. This is their nature, is to deceive, is to lie, and it's a joke. And they think if no one's gonna stand up and realize what they're volunteering for, then by all means they should be able to keep violating the Nuremberg Code and tricking the common citizen with what they do with their body. And it's up to us to stop it. It's up to us to stop it.